My friends, have you ever overcomplicated anything? Well, that's what happens sometimes when you get too close to a particular project. You have to step back and take another look. That's what I did yesterday, and things came together very nicely. Plus, I've got some peaceful video that I wanted to share with you, taken around the farm here this morning. We'll do that right after this. Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Workshop. It is Thursday, May 11th, which reminds me that tomorrow morning, bright and early my time, 8 o'clock a.m., we will have our next shop talk. So if you would like to be a part of that, feel free to join in. And if you have questions, comments, or topics you'd like me to discuss tomorrow, be sure to put those in today's comment section of this video. And it's best if you start them off with a few question marks. That way I'll know you intend to have it included in the shop talk tomorrow. Quite frankly, I definitely was overcomplicating the quarter saw attachment for the sawmill. I was going to make a ring and an extra disc, attach the disc to the log, then bolt the log to the ring. When really, the answer was staring me right in the face, and I have a video here to explain all that. Enjoy. Well, my friends, after some careful consideration, I've decided that I had overcomplicated the design considerably by trying to make these big discs and things that would attach to the log and then bolt up. I've decided I can just use this as it is. The problem was that the way it was designed originally, the bolts would have to go through here and tie the wheel to this hub back here. So all I did was reverse that. I welded some lug nuts on the outside. Of course, I had to ream the holes out bigger. And then I just put the bolts through from this side. So now even if there's a log on this side, I can get to the bolts to put the hub on. So what I've decided I can do is use these square holes for the lug bolts to attach the log. So I can attach the log through those square holes and then lift the whole assembly up and bolt it on right here. So that should work just fine. One other benefit I've discovered and improvement I've made is this little mechanism right here. If you look at this, I can pull this over like so, and that allows this to spin. But this is my index. So I can index the saw or the cuts to this thing right here. So when I lock it in, now this doesn't spin. And now I can cut that one, move it, cut the next one, and just do that all the way around. And then you see where these bolts are. That won't matter because 180 degrees away, it's a hole. So either way, I can use either one of those and it's the same cut. So I think the design's pretty solid. The only thing I'm not sure about is on a large log, it might be that I have to cut in between these holes. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it, but if that's the case, what I'll do is I'll put another indexer on the other side and offset it so that these holes are halfway different than this, if you understand my point. So in other words, I'll index it on this side where this side fits halfway between. So if I have to do that, and I'm not saying I will, but that's an option. So that's the main thing I did yesterday, was just refine the design here, fix this where I can mount it this way instead of the other way. Then I made another improvement up here. I was always having to use ratchet straps to lock this whole thing down whenever I trailered it. So I just decided to use these existing holes that were in this already and drilled down through, and now I can lock this down in two places, and this carriage doesn't move at all. As you can see, it's locked in place, so I can trailer this and be very safe when moving it around. You know, if I'm going through a rough part of the property or whatever, this won't fall now. It's very solid. Where the ratchet straps were questionable. Those are the big improvements that I've made. Now I'm ready to try this thing out. I've got an old walnut log that I might try it on a little later today, assuming that it doesn't rain. Well, I hope that explained it. so that you could understand what I'm planning to do there. The additional benefit of using that wheel ring just the way it is that that sharp ring around there, I think, will also bite into the log a little bit. And when I put the lag bolts through, I think that'll keep it from moving around. I think it'll be really solid. So I think there's an additional benefit there. Now, the only negative is I can't put a log on there smaller than 16.5 inches, I don't think. Although that may not be an issue either. It may be possible. One of the other things that's been crossing my mind, I'm like Einstein. I do these thought experiments. I know you guys all drew the comparison between me and Einstein. Anyway, I do these thought experiments in my mind, and I try to walk through the whole thing, the whole process, to see how, where the flaws are going to be. And one of the flaws that I can see coming is that, trees don't necessarily grow perfectly round, first of all. Second of all, and more importantly, they don't necessarily grow on center. In other words, you think of a tree rings as being like a bullseye. Well, sometimes the bullseye is off center of the actual log. Like, say, if you had a tree growing at the edge of a forest, like here is very common. We've got lots of sycamore trees growing right along the edge of the fields. Half of the tree is in the woods, if you will, the other half's in the field. That field side gets a lot more exposure, a lot more light, room to grow, and my guess is that it's going to grow off center. In other words, I think the field side is those rings are going to be a little wider, and this is what I'm suspecting. And I think the center won't be the center of the tree, if you will. So when I mount those logs on this quarter saw attachment, I think I'm going to have to center them on the quarter saw attachment on the center line of my saw cuts, if that makes sense. In other words, even though the log might be perfectly round, but the center of that log might be offset by several inches because of the way it grew. And I think I'm still going to have to take that offset center and put it in the center of my saw cuts, if you will. I don't know if I explained that very well, but I've been thinking through that, and I think that's the way I'll have to do it so that everything stays perfectly quarter sawn. Anyway, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it also. Now it's time to just relax and just enjoy some of the bird sounds and other sounds that we have here on the farm in the early morning. And I just took a little walk down the driveway here and recorded a few video clips. So hopefully you'll enjoy that and find it peaceful. Well, my friends, that's going to be it for today. I hope you will put your questions, comments, and topics in the comments section of today's video, and we will discuss those tomorrow morning for Shop Talk. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you bright and early in the morning.